Good. Let's roll.
Well, welcome to the Wake Up Call, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm so grateful for my life partner, Jamie, because there's just some things, if you're married, you probably are going to pick up what I'm throwing down right now. There are some things that your partner's just better at than you. There's strengths that they have that you don't. One of those strengths is Jamie operating all the controls here on the phone to make sure we're ready to rock and roll. So I am so thankful for that, because who knows what would happen. Actually, I do know what happened, because I controlled it at one point. I think it was our first wake-up call, and it didn't get recorded. And if you could have seen us behind the scenes, it's a hot mess. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because we are here right now, and this is a new year. So we're leaving all of the stuff behind in 2023. And we're headed into this year with great expectancy, and I hope you are as well. So remember, these calls are Monday through Friday, 8:15 Eastern. And by now, many of you have made this a habit. It's old hat. You've got your alarm set. You're dialing in. That is amazing. I want to encourage you in this new year to invite maybe a friend or two on to listen to these wake-up calls. Remember, it's not affiliated with any certain business. This is just a way for you to have some personal growth and growing into this new year. So we are following along with the book, The Little Things Matter by Todd Smith. It's 100 ways to improve your life today, and that's exactly what we're doing every single morning. And I love these wake-up calls, not just the book and the chapters, but I love listening to the leader's perspective on these chapters. What a great way for iron to sharpen iron. So we are on chapter number 33, and it's a short chapter today, but I believe it's a chapter that's going to leave a lasting impression. And by the way, that is the title of the chapter, Leave a Positive Last Impression. Here is what Todd has to say about this chapter, number 33. Making a good first impression is an important component of your brand, but equally important is your last impression. When you leave a relationship, an organization, or a place of employment, the last impression you create is how you will be remembered. And how you are remembered will likely have long-standing implications. A positive first impression may have landed you a job, but a negative last impression could jeopardize your chances of getting one in the future. People who leave a place of employment with an honorable attitude when it would be tempting to do otherwise stand out as people worthy of respect. And I'm giggling a little because I have some things to share about that here in a little bit. This trite but appropriate saying is true. What goes around comes around. How many of us have heard that? I know I definitely have from my parents. One damaged relationship can have far-reaching implications. If you leave a relationship on unfavorable terms or you handle yourself in a tasteless manner, there is no upside. No matter how you try to justify your actions, you will likely regret your behavior for months and years to come. When you are wronged, disrespected, or mistreated in any way, how you react is your choice. You are in control. You can act irresponsibly and seek revenge, or you can handle yourself in a mature manner, responding with discretion and dignity. The benefits of leaving on pleasant terms are evident. You gain respect, number one. If you handle yourself with class, no matter what the circumstances are concerning your departure, people's respect for you grows. Number two, your reputation is protected. It is very difficult to speak negatively about people who handle themselves in an honorable and admirable fashion. Number three, your self-image increases. When you handle yourself properly and you do what you know is right, your self-image is enhanced and you have peace. This is especially true if doing the right thing is difficult. Number four, you receive favorable references. You'll most likely need references from your employer and coworkers to secure a new job. It's not uncommon for a prospective employer to Google you, or nowadays look you up on social media, right? Or to speak personally with your former coworkers before taking the interview process to the next stage. If you want to advance your career and build your market value, then your track record will be just as it sounds, your track record. So He goes on to challenge us, and he says, life rarely proceeds exactly as we plan it. Oh, my gosh, isn't that the truth? There will always be situations where you have to make a change. Sometimes changes are momentous, like a marriage or a career. Others not quite as serious. Regardless, be proud of the way you leave a situation and make your last impression a good one. He says the first impression you make determines how people view you. The last impression determines how they remember you.
I love it. I love it. And Happy New Year, everyone. Man, there's so many things, that were kind of going through my mind when Holli was reading this and when we were going over this, and we had some conversations kind of leading up. I think it's so relevant in so many ways to kind of, New Year's resolution season and all that. It's just little things, right? So many times people try to change everything all at once, and, you have to take it at your own pace. And when I say that, it's not to take it slow. It means make small changes consistently and watch what will happen. So if you plug into this call on a consistent basis, you try to make a small change, and you can add, 1% here, 1% here, over the course of 3 months, 6 months, a year, a couple years, you can completely change the trajectory with just little things. And I think this is one of those little things that many times people don't even think about, right? You just don't. We always say leave what's your first impression, but what is a last impression, right? And so, I learned this, so many times leaving, just from leaving a former employer, right? And just in leaving, also, a former company. And I think it goes down to just really simple things, right? When you leave a place, do you leave it just better than you found it, right? And I learned that really honestly from my wife, and it comes down to a simple thing of when you enter a room and you leave the room, do you leave it better than you found it, or, kind of, you can take it really simple, right? Do you just kind of maybe be self-serving, you kind of dump all your problems and then just walk out of the room? Or do you uplift? Are you encouraging? Are you positive, right? Because I think, when you leave a place, many times people say you leave a company, maybe you leave a relationship, you leave, former employee, whatever that is, the tendency nowadays is slander, right? And, you can go to social media, you can spin a one-sided narrative, and it's so commonplace today, and it's always a one-sided. It's never, from God. It's never the kind of way, I believe when you're in the best place for your life, whether it's the best company, the best people, I believe I'm a part of a company that has the very best products. And when you're in the best, you just don't have to talk about the rest. And that just goes for saying, right? I believe Holli and I have a great marriage. I believe it's the best marriage. I'm maybe biased, but, you don't have to talk about the rest. And, it's very easy to slander, but it's honestly a sign of weakness when you have to attack others to make yourself better, and whatever that looks like. And so it's leaving. But I remember just kind of when you leave a place, take it really simply and say, do you leave it in a place where you could re-enter? Do you leave it in a place where you could, come back? And many folks, it's really commonplace, as I said, nowadays, to do just the opposite. And I think when we talk about all of these things, the little things are the big things. What do you do to look different from the world today? How can you look different? We're talking about in your business and branding yourself in your life and kind of moving forward. Well, I think it's not really that difficult, because it is just a lot of little things, right? It's character, it's integrity, it's please and thank you. It's just treating people with respect. It's taking time. It's not what you say, it's what you do. And it's just all of those little actions that will set you apart from everything else out there. And I believe that's at the end of the day, it's how we witness, right, is by our example, not by what we say, not by what we post, not by those things. It's by all of these little things. And you can boil this down, and I don't know where Holli will take this, but, you can talk about leaving an employer and all of those things. But I think really simply today when you enter a room, whether it's even we homeschool, we work from home, so it's just our family, so it's the four of us here. But even for myself, like when you enter a room, do you just be intentional to leave it better than you found it? Maybe that's just an uplifting word. Maybe it's a smile. Maybe it's a positive attitude, whatever that looks like. But leave it better than you found it. It doesn't cost a dime. It's not about anything other than what you bring to the table and what you leave. And watch how that makes a difference and an impact on people and how you can completely set yourself apart. So I'll turn it back to Holli and see what she's got to say.
I love that, Jamie, and I love your perspective on it. And, we talk a lot about this because it's kind of easy to think about first impression, right? And we hear that all the time. And I just believe a lasting impression is just as crucial as a first impression. I don't want to say it's more crucial. I think they both have equal value. But one thing that I know, and I know I was chuckling earlier because I wanted to get back to this, is when Todd said, and I want to find it here, he said, when it would be tempting to do otherwise. And I mean, just reading it makes me chuckle because, we're, we are sinful by nature, right? We're human beings, and it can be so tempting to do so otherwise, especially when you feel like you've been wronged. Anybody here on this phone call right now, you've been in a circumstance or a situation where you feel like you've been wronged. Maybe you've been slandered, and now, like Jamie said, with social media, we went through a season last year where, it was just mind-blowing. And our hearts are to defend, right? We want to make sure people know, who we are, what we're about, and that's our passion coming through, right? And we want to defend ourselves. And it's something we had to go through last year because I don't know how many times I wanted to, comment on a post, or I wanted to send a personal message. And it wasn't going to be a nice one. I'm just being very honest. It was going to be straight to the point, and I wanted them to know exactly how I felt, what they've done, to us that has hurt us. And I really wanted to go there, and I really had to take a step back. I had to pray about it. I had to give it to God, and I really had to fight that urge when I wanted to do otherwise. But I am here to tell you it is the best thing you could ever do because, it's what we teach our boys. We say, if God knows your heart, that's all that matters. Let people think what they want to think about you. God knows who you are. And I think it's so hard to do. I don't know how many times I've deleted a message or and went to Jamie and said, I'm going to send this. He's like, no, you're not. Absolutely not. Or vice versa, him to me. And I'm saying, Jamie, that's not a good idea. Let's pray about this. And I really want you all to understand you're not alone if you've experienced this, but this call is about personal growth. And I'll be honest, 10 years ago, I sent that message. 10 years ago, I showed up at their house, and it never served me well. I'm just, being very honest here. And so as we head into this new year, and we're in it right now, right, 2 days in, we have to let go of the old to lay a hold of the new. So we have to maybe leave what's comfortable if we really want to experience God as our provider and our defender and our way maker. So I want to leave you with that today. We have to let go of the old to lay a hold of the new. And that might be some old habits and some personal things that, you're struggling with, and your tendency is to, defend and go there. And I just, I don't have this all figured out. That's why I'm on these calls. That's why we're on these calls. But I do have some experience in this area that whenever I've tried the opposite, like Todd said, when I've felt the urge to do it and I've done it, it never serves me well. So I would encourage you to leave that lasting impression, because I also have had, we have had a lot of people over this past year reach out and say, I don't know how you guys are doing this. I don't know how you're not defending. I don't know how do you see what's being, I'm like, you know what? God is my defender. And as hard as it is, the best thing you could do is pray for us. And so I want to encourage you, last thing I'm going to say, I hope you have some friends in your life that pray about you as much as they talk about you. And so heading into this new year, I want to encourage you, let go of the old to lay a hold of the new and work on making that lasting impression. So we love you all. God bless you. Happy New Year. Jamie will unmute the line.
All right. Have a wonderful day. God bless.
Thank y'all.
You too. We go, go, go.